Welcome, everyone. Welcome to the Japan Greater Tokyo Area 2025 Summer Abroad Information Session. I am so delighted that you are joining us today. I would like to start with the land acknowledgement. We wish to acknowledge this land on which the University of Toronto operates. For thousands of years, it has been the traditional land of the Huron-Wendat, the Seneca, and the Mississaugas of the Credit. Today, this meeting place is still the home to many Indigenous people from across Turtle Island, and we are grateful to have the opportunity to work on this land. My name is Lorraine Altham. Welcome to everyone joining us today. I'm the Director of the Professional International Programs here at UFT, specifically happy and delighted to be leading the Summer Abroad program. Joined today by Professor Bob Thompson, who is going to be a 2025 Summer Abroad Japan instructor. Thank you, Bob, for joining us. And at the back end, we have Joe Zhou, who is our frontline advisor and Summer Abroad Program Officer, also the on-site staff for 2024, who is going to be providing support and assistance to you at the back end. Last but not the least, Leon. Leon's a 2024 Japan Summer Abroad participant, and he's going to be sharing insights with you. So without further ado, let me go through the agenda. So we're going to start with Summer Abroad overview. I will be going through Summer Abroad programs. What does it mean to be on a Summer Abroad program for those who may be new to Summer Abroad? And then we'll talk through the Japan programs. I will be inviting the instructor and our past participants to share their experiences and provide you with insights on this program. You'll then find out how to apply the logistical details, and also next steps would be discussed. Because this is a webinar, you'll notice that this is not a Zoom meeting format. You would definitely be able to ask questions using the Q&A function. So make sure at any point in time, if you have any questions, type them under the Q&A functionality, and Joe at the back end or instructor or Leon will be happy to provide you with guidance. This session is being recorded, and once the recording is edited, we will be uploading the video on our Summer Abroad website in 1 week's time. And any student who is registered for this info session will be receiving a link to the recorded video as well. Last and not the least, Q&A. For those who may have additional questions, please feel free to stick around at the end. We'll be happy to assist you, or we will provide you with contact information so you can reach out to us and book a separate advising appointment as needed. So what's Summer Abroad? As you can see from the screen, we are extremely fortunate to be providing you with a wide range of different opportunities for you to consider for 2025. When you're on our website, you'll notice there's so many different options, and Japan is just one of the various options. The Summer Abroad program at the University of Toronto started in 1972, so it's been around for a very long time and started in Siena in Italy. It's still continuing, and every single year we try to see how can we make this better and make it an awesome undergraduate experience for our UFT students. So Summer Abroad is very different from our different other international opportunities offered through the University of Toronto. As part of a Summer Abroad participant, you complete a full year credit, a full year UFT credit within 3 to 4 weeks. For Japan specifically, it's 4 weeks. Okay. Do keep in mind a Summer Abroad program is quite intensive, and it's an academically enriching program. You're able to focus on one particular course over that intensive duration of the program, a course that you normally would complete over, say, 8 months from September to April. You're condensing it into 4 weeks. So keep that in mind. The environment, the culture around you when you're abroad is essentially your living classroom and your textbook. You're going to be taught by UFT instructors. In some cases, you have access to guest lecturers and experts on the ground. And you also have on-site support with you We understand for some students it may be a new opportunity to travel. Maybe you haven't really traveled yourself in the past. So this is an opportunity for you to travel with your classmates to a location, be immersed in the culture and the academic component, and come back, hopefully enriched with a number of various different pieces of information and memories. Students have provided feedback and they have confirmed that these experiences do help them become global citizens. It has helped them in boosting their self confidence, enrich their career opportunities. Maybe you've thought about even doing your master's or graduate studies abroad, or maybe you've thought about working abroad. So, this provides you with those particular helpful insights and lifelong friendships. I've heard so many stories where students come back to us, even during our reunion events, and say that they've remained in touch. They've kept in touch with their peers from sometimes 20 or 30 years ago. So, summer abroad has so many benefits. It's a wonderful opportunity and it's there for you to consider. Keep in mind that it is primarily an academic experience. It's not a travel program. Of course, you have access to traveling over the weekend, but your primary focus is going to be academics. So we want to ensure students who are selected and applying for somewhere abroad is applying to really get to know the content better, and you're doing it because you're interested in the knowledge you would gain. So a little bit on the summer abroad as an overview. You would be now learning a little bit more about the 2025 Japan program. This is the second year we're going to be offering this particular program, and it's going to be based in the greater Tokyo area in Japan. The classes are going to be small. Something a little bit new for 2025 is we are going to be offering two sections. So last year was our first year launching the Japan program and was really very well received. We had an overwhelming number of applications, so we're responding to that request and demand. So we're going to be offering two sections, and Bob's going to talk a little bit about how that's going to work out. So the two sections will be happening at the same time concurrently, and the program dates are May 10th to June 7th. That's when the program's going to run. The course is an industrial relations and human resources course, and the classes usually will run Monday to Friday. Do note that Friday is usually for field trips, and these are academic mandatory field trips that will help you understand your course content so much more better. There are other program activities such as city walks, welcomes, and farewell activities that really will help ensure that the group gets to know each other really well and you're really able to build a community over the 4 weeks. Again, reminder, we want to make sure you understand it is primarily an academic program happening in the summer. So this is a little bit of a snapshot of the Greater Tokyo area. If you're not familiar with the map of Japan, why the Greater Tokyo area, or as I like to call it, the GTA, but in Japan, it's a vibrant metropolitan area. There's so much cultural diversity that you'll encounter just by walking through and exploring the region's cultural delights. I don't think I even have to mention it. For those who are really into Japanese food, you'll be able to experience it. There's a rich history, and last but not the least, a real access to cutting edge technology while you're there. I am now going to open up the floor to Professor Bob Thompson. Bob, to tell us a little bit more about the course, a little bit more about the activities, and please go ahead and share your insight. The floor is yours.
Great. Thanks, Lorraine, and thanks to all who put this together. The Summer Abroad is great for support, and appreciate you putting this together to promote our event in Tokyo. It was so wonderful last year for me to have that experience that I feel lucky again to do it in a double cohort this year. And so I'm going to tell you just in the next few slides, I think I'll describe just a little bit about me and my perspective on going to Japan. And of course, you'll be interested to know sort of the format of the course. And then specifically, you might have questions about the field trip and a bit more about logistics. And as Lorraine mentioned, and Joe's in the back there, you can ask questions, through the Q&A. and we'll answer them. And once I'm finished talking, I can answer some of them as well. But a little bit about me. I've got an engineering degree. I've got a couple MBAs and a law degree. I'm a lawyer, and I have a master's in law related to conflict resolution. So my story is I've worked in a lot of big corporations and resolving conflict and dealing with legal issues, obviously, but also people issues and sometimes more process driven or operations issues as well in grocery and auto and assembly and warehousing, that kind of thing. So my skill that I think I can bring to the course and to Japan is how to resolve conflict. And that's sort of my focus. Once we're through the course, we'll hopefully have developed your skills to understand how to mediate or address or work with issues. And we're going to do that through the lens of the Japanese culture, which is why we're there. And I've been to Japan, I guess maybe more than a dozen times. My spouse is from there, and I don't speak the language. I understand some of the culture, and I'm learning each time I go. So that's something we'll do together, is get a sense of how Japan situates their workplaces, their culture, and their governance. And we'll do that through different field trips. And I think maybe the next slide, well, there's a few photos of me there, but this is the format of the course itself. And we're ambitious. And this is with the suggestion of Lorraine and Joe and others that we doubled up our field trip numbers because there's so much to see. And so I still want to do it in a measured way, but each week we'll have two field trips, and that will relate to what we're studying in the week and relate to those things I mentioned: culture, governance, like government, workplace issues, and just the general ethos of this great nation and culture. And so you'll see these are my proposed field trips. It's complicated, and I need the help of the Summer Abroad office to set these up because, Japan has a long list of rules and bureaucracy and, important sort of components to follow so that we have to make sure, and it takes some time to arrange these. But this is my hope for what we'll do. And as you can see, in a 5-day week, we'll start off by going to class, and then we'll go on a field trip. And we're doing this each of the 4 weeks we're there. And then we'll have two more intense classes afterwards based on the learnings of the course. And then the last day of the week, we'll go on another trip, again, related to the content. And so if you're looking at this slide, these are the first 3 weeks, and you can see that we'll do something cultural by, hopefully, if you're willing to, dress up in a kimono is one of my favorite things to do, and have a true tea ceremony and visit one of the most iconic temples in Tokyo. At the end of that week, hopefully, we'll be able to arrange a trip to a automotive assembly factory. I'm hoping it's the one south of Tokyo and Yokohama. But one way or the other, we're going to get to a manufacturing facility. And the next week, you can see the hope is to visit the government buildings, the Diet, and also the iconic market, and as well as a shrine. And at the end of that week, we'll do another visit to a workplace. After all, my topic is about workplace conflicts. So we'll look at perhaps a warehousing logistics situation, or perhaps a beverage manufacturer. We're working on that. And we'll see the exchange, the financial sort of sector in a visit in the third week, and some government buildings and a tour of the local government. Again, governance is a part of our story because law is a part of workplace issues. And you can see also, before we flip to the next slide, that we have two cohorts, as Lorraine was mentioning, and the proposed way that I have to approach it, you saw in our slide that one of our classes starts just before 9 a.m. for 3 hours. The next one will happen just after lunch, probably around 1, for another 3 hours. So that one cohort will be in the morning and the other in the afternoon. And to make it fair, after 2 weeks of that, we'll flip the cohorts. So we are sharing the morning class and the afternoon class between those two cohorts. Now, maybe just I can get you to flip to the next slide, because that's the fourth and final week, and it's the first week of June. As you know, we will end the classes on Friday, June 6th. But I think the idea is that the program will end and people will start flying off to their homes on the 7th or beyond. And so we'd like to do a couple things, and I'm a big film buff, by the way, and so I've selected one of the most popular films of the world, not just of Japan, and we'll look at it early in the week, and then we'll visit the sort of display related to the director, who's quite famous, and we'll add into that perhaps a visit to another workplace. I've got friends over there, and they've invited us to see their children's family agency. So I'm hoping that I'm going to be able to arrange that, of course, depending on everything about field trips and arrangements. And finally, we'll do a nice trip, and I'm suggesting that could be Mount Fuji if we can make that happen. It's a little bit of a distance, but I think we can make it work. And again, we'll have to reach out to our tour company to make sure that date works. And as you know, these things could change. In fact, maybe I could get you to flip, Joe, to the next slide. I want to just sort of outline and manage expectations about field trips, especially in Japan. There's a lot of things that can happen. We were very lucky to have them come together, and I expect the same thing will happen this year. But I do suggest that when it comes to field trips, you want to make sure that your expectations are managed. That there's needs to be flexibility, and sometimes we have to change the destination of the schedule based on certain needs, and that might be related, as you can see on the slide here, to cultural norms or how we book things in Japan. Sometimes they have rules about when you can start booking and the size of groups and the age of them and how many tour guides we need. And so we'll have to just sort of navigate that. So that what I just showed you as a list of sort of our structure of the course is a draft. And so you want to make sure you stay apprised. And I have posted a course outline. I think it's going to be updated soon on our Summer Abroad website. And it outlines sort of the structure of the course and again mentions those field trips and the articles we read related to those experiences. In fact, I don't think I'm showing that today. I don't have it, but I just want you to know that when it comes to my deliverables for the course, they're measured and intended, obviously, to educate you and get you to learn about our topic about resolving conflict in Japanese workplaces, but also in a way that's digestible. I have an assignment related to, well, I have a quiz, obviously, related to some of our readings, and I have an assignment related to your own personal field trip that you'll present to us in the class. You're going to also analyze a academic article and share that with the class as well. And I have a paper, a manageable one that's due towards the end, just after we're done in June. And so those are the things I'm expecting. And I expect interaction in the classroom. And we have simulations where we'll build those skills of resolving conflict and scenarios related to Japanese culture that we'll deal with. And so I think it'll be a memorable experience for people is the goal. And I like to be interactive and I like it when people get along. And that's one of our goals is to resolve conflict. And we'll do that in the classroom. And I'm excited about the experience. And I think, Joe, that's the end of my photos. And so I have one thing here, quick thing about just who I am. Like I said, I've been to Japan a lot of times, and I'm kind of I guess I'm an urban person. I'm not that active, but as I mentioned, I like pop culture. I like certain things, like food for sure. And so I'm going to show you quickly some of my 10 favorite things to do in Japan. And so I like the family restaurants because they have this drink bar thing where you can have unlimited coffee and soft drinks. I do have relatives over there through my spouse, and so socializing with her friends is fun for me because it makes it feel real with the local person. There's a place that sells very affordable. Well, everywhere is kind of affordable right now with the Japanese currency, but I do like Mitsuya is a place that sells these gyumeshi rice dishes, and you can have them anytime, especially when you're jet lag hungry. You can go in these 24-hour places. I do a lot of shopping. I'll just sort of skip through some of that. I'm getting a little older now, but I like the cycling. You can rent bikes and go along the river path. That's fun. I do drive to relatives along countryside roads, and I find there's a beauty to that with the rice paddies, etc. And one of the things I love to do, I don't drink as much milk as I used to, but the milk in Japan is excellent. And that's true about England, New Zealand, a few other places as well. But they have these milk bars, a few of them across Tokyo. And I like to drink as much milk as possible. I drink so much that I try to shock the person selling the milk. So they sell them in bottles, you have to drink them in front of them. And I can usually get up to around 7, 8, or even 10. And they're shocked with just how much. But again, I only get the opportunity to do it once a year, once every few years. So I indulge. Anyway, I'm sure you'll have your own list. Maybe all of you or some of you have been to Japan before, and you can know it's excellent. But it truly is there as a culture to serve themselves, obviously, but also us as tourists, as long as we have some understanding of their cultural needs and we show respect. I think that's the dynamic they're looking for, and I hope to promote that in the course. Anyway, look forward to those who are eligible and who come to the course and to present it in a way that is long lasting. Thanks, Lorraine. Yeah.
Thank you, Bob. That's perfect. Perfect
Mm.
overview of the program and the Japanese culture as well. I do want to just say for those who have questions, please type your questions under the Q&A and we'll be able to respond accordingly. If you would like to speak and verbally articulate your questions, please wait until the end and we will open up the floor for anyone who would like to have a discussion instead. Moving on to student experiences. So I want to make sure you have an opportunity to hear from a past participant. I always say there's so much value and so much insight that students and us as well as staff can learn from those who've been in the previous cohort. So I open up the floor to Leon. Leon, take it away. Tell us about your experience. Share with us any tips to anyone who may be thinking about going abroad next summer.
Thanks, Lorraine. Hi everyone. My name's Leon. I am a third year Rotman Commerce student, and I did the Summers Abroad program just last year. And like Professor Thompson has said, this course is on conflict resolutions, and I find that with his class in particular, with the simulations, it has been an incredible experience because it's not something that you really get to do at U of T with a regular course, but also the fact that you're learning about a culture that you're immersed in. I think that is one of the key points that Summers Abroad bring that just makes the overall experience so much better. And for me, I actually did another one in South Korea in my first year, and I have to say, with these experiences, it has gotten me a lot more perspective. And through the pictures, you can see that all these places that I went to are with the people I met for the first time. But to this day, we still hang out. So one of the biggest things I think for summers abroad is meeting the people and being able to explore, learn alongside them for 4 months. It's not an opportunity you usually get at U of T, just given how academically intense everything is. But with summers abroad courses in particular, because you're just focused on one course, you have a lot more opportunities to explore and actually hang out with the people that you are, learning with. And for me, I think Japan has always been a very special program in a sense that it has been very different from my South Korean experience. The people I've met and the things that we've done has just been incredible. And like Lauren said, Japan is an incredible country with so much more offerings. And with the course that you learn, you can directly see how that's translated with the people that you meet on the streets or to the restaurants that you go to or to whatever activities that um, you're going to attend to. You can actually see some of the lessons being applied because you actually try and understand where sort of their culture and their perspective is from and how their workplace is because you are going into their workplace. I think, yeah, just some highlights with it. Japan has some amazing destinations, and I guess I should say one thing in regards to the academics. Like Professor Thompson said, like it's balanced. I don't think it's intensive in any way, but you do have to put in the work. It's again not a tourist, sort of vacation for you. There is work to be done, but all of the works are incredibly manageable in my opinion. And as long as you stay on top of it, you'll be fine. And with Japan, a big part of this course is also the cultural exploration, right? So you going out, just seeing sights even, or going to even like a karaoke bar and you see something different, it's like, hey, that's different from like North American. Like that's something that you can directly learn about and, have applied to in class. Yeah, I'll keep this brief. But I guess one advice if I could give to all of you and as well as to my past self is, if you're on the fence of doing this, whether you're scared about a new environment or you're scared about meeting new people or any of that anxiety, I would say take a leap of faith. It's not every day that you have an opportunity to go abroad for a month, and it's not every day that you are able to meet people from different programs. I know for me, Rodman is an incredibly isolating sort of bubble, and being able to interact with people outside of my major has definitely made my perspective a lot more broad and has shown me a lot more things that I otherwise wouldn't, along with the experience itself. Being in a global sort of sense, it has helped me so much with whether that be employment or whether that be projects or just on a personal level, has made me a lot more well-balanced to understanding other people. And I think the class definitely gives you an extra oomph in that perspective. So yeah.
Thank you, Leon. Thank you for sharing your experiences, and those are great insights, Leon. It's so helpful to hear from a past participant, and definitely relevant for those who are thinking, should you not? I would also urge you definitely apply and try to incorporate that as part of your UFT experience. There's nothing but benefits you would derive out of these experiences. So I'm going to move ahead and tell you a little bit more about the practical elements of applying, but Leon and Bob are in the back end. So if you have questions for either of them, feel free to use our chat functionality. So let's talk a little bit about the logistical details or what happens during the 2025 Japan Summer Abroad session. We are very fortunate to be collaborating with Kyoto University in Japan again, and they are happy to host our two cohorts again this particular summer. Do keep in mind our classrooms are going to be based on the Hiyoshi campus. This is very, very close to where the students are going to be staying. The facilities are amazing, and students will have access to being on that particular campus. You'll also have access to an on-site coordinator. We want to make sure you're well supported, and we are happy to share there will be two on-site coordinators who will be available to provide you with non-academic support. Make sure you're transitioning well. You're able to ask questions about the culture or any aspect of being on a summer abroad opportunity, and they would be your contact and they'll help you liaise with Keio University, your instructor, or navigate any concerns when you're abroad. There are so many different types of program activities as part of the Japan program. I think you've heard about them already. And just to recap, welcome activities, walking tours, anything and everything that we can think of that we can make sure we are able to schedule into your program schedule, we will make it happen. We want to make sure it's a really well balanced. We want to make sure you have opportunities to meet other students within the program, but we also want to make sure that you have opportunities to really rest and reflect on your learning as well as your own free time as well. So let's talk a little bit about accommodations. Students are going to be staying very close to public transportation in Japan. And for those who are familiar with Japan, you know that's very important. Don't worry, it's about 15 minutes commute to your classroom at Keio University. And on the first day, normally your on-site staff will help you navigate that journey and show you how to use the local transportation. It's very easy and easy for individuals after your first day. Your accommodations would be single rooms. You're going to be based in a hotel. We've actually explored a number of different accommodations in Japan, and we wanted to make sure they'll be safe and they would be suitable and close to your learning environment. So if you selected a hotel for the students, it was the best one possible within reasonable budget. It'll be clean, it'll include Wi-Fi, and you'll be able to make sure that you're having a comfortable stay during the 4 weeks in Japan. The breakfast is available and included already in the cost. So you have access to that. You don't have to worry about breakfast early in the morning. It's already there provided in your hotel. In addition to that, students are expected to budget approximately 700 Canadian dollars for lunches and other dinner expenses. In terms of flight, we don't do any group flights for any of our summer abroad programs anymore. Students will be booking their own travel arrangements. So if you, for example, if you're traveling or planning to travel from Toronto to Japan and you're planning to fly back to Toronto, we will be sharing a recommended flight once you're admitted. Students who are traveling from Toronto, they would generally be on the recommended flight, and you'll meet your peers normally on that recommended flight. But we did want to provide that as an option because we have heard that some students may be preferring to take different flight paths because maybe they're thinking about going home and then from home, and it may be in Alberta, maybe you're flying from BC or from another different country, you have the flexibility to arrange your own flight details. As long as you're there on the first day of the start of the program and we're checking you into the hotel, that'll be fine. So travel from the airport to the hotel is also very straightforward, and we'll provide you lots of instructions and guidance once you're admitted. Let's talk a little bit about eligibility into just generally summer abroad. For you to be admitted into a summer abroad program, you have to complete at least a full term. So 4.0 credits need to be completed before your program starts, and your minimum CGPA needs to be at least 1.75 at the time of application. If you're a first year student, naturally your CGPA may not be available or visible on the system. So don't worry about it. You can still apply. On your application. You need to outline that you plan to complete the 4.0 full credits by the end of the April month, and that show some kind of proof of how you're doing in your current courses, and we'll definitely take that into consideration. As Leon mentioned, he did travel after his first year. So you do know that first years do participate in summer abroad opportunities. One tip I would share about the Japan program, it has been quite a competitive program. So we don't admit on a first come, first serve basis. We review all the applications on a very holistic basis. So when you're applying for the Japan program, I want to hear from you why you want to be part of this particular course. How does this course and the academic learning components align with your personal and academic goals? So make sure that you're very clear about that and articulating that really well in your application. We don't look at CGPAs, but we really take a comprehensive look as why you're looking to be part of this particular cohort and how you plan to contribute back into the learning as well. So if there are spots available, then the program, the Japan program, would be open to students who are non-degrees or UFT alums as well. The program, generally in summer abroad, is also open to professional faculty or graduate students, generally broadly as well. Students from other North American universities are able to apply. They would need to submit a letter of permission, and we have instructions to that effect on our website. So let's talk a little bit about the application. Application is already online, and we've started to receive quite a few applications for Japan already, which is fantastic. Response has been amazing. So keep them coming. If you're thinking about applying, don't hesitate, do that now. Application deadline is February the 3rd at 4 p.m. So it's coming along pretty quickly. So don't waste time. Don't wait until the last minute if possible, because you would have so many other priorities potentially around the first week of February. So just review your summer abroad applications now instead of doing it at a later date. There is an application fee, $210. So there is a separate application fee for each destination. Students sometimes will ask us, and I think it's very smart to think about this. They may think about applying to two summer abroad programs, and it could be because you maybe actually be thinking about doing two, which is absolutely possible. So you may be thinking about doing maybe Japan in the May term and doing a second one, maybe Italy in August. And that's absolutely possible if you've had so many students do it. You would just be submitting two separate applications, and do note that it means two separate application fees for each. Okay. If you're not admitted into a summer abroad program, we will refund $100 of the application fee back to you, which we think is fair. Again, going over the admission criteria, not on a first come, first serve basis. We review it on a holistic basis. We review on a number of different factors, including academic record over the last 12 months. We want to make sure you're doing well. Relevance of the course to this particular Japan program will be something we'll keep in mind. Make sure you actually put some importance and time on completing a personal statement, which is part of your application. And the fourth item, which is new for 2025, there is an online recorded video component. It's actually a really straightforward process, and students who've completed it has given me really good feedback. It is a way for you to share with us your self response on why you would like to be part of Summer Abroad. So the questions are very general. They usually will be asking you why you're looking to do this program or to that particular effect. We're not looking for perfect answers. So if you're a little bit nervous about doing it, don't be nervous. You don't have to really prepare or try to memorize a response. That's not what we are looking for. Just be your true self. Pretend you're having a discussion with me or just a conversation with me, and just record your response as if you're sharing with another individual why you would like to be doing this particular program this summer. Okay, as long as you're just yourself, that's going to be perfect. That's what we really want to hear from students. So a little bit more information on the application. When you actually are log on to our website and the login button is on the top right hand corner of our web page, you will be directed to this particular Summer Abroad portal, and it looks like this. It's very much self-guided, and the left-hand navigator will walk you through the different steps. It will talk you through the things you need to know and also ask you to confirm a couple of pieces of information relating to your application. Once you've completed the application, it will then direct you to one, complete the application or submit the application fee, $210, and you'll also get an email link to complete the online recorded interview. And at the end, step 3, last but don't forget, hit submit. Okay, so decisions are usually released late February to early March. For Japan, we're going to try to release decisions as early as possible. We want to make sure that you are aware and notified if you've been selected for this particular program. Note that admission into Summer Abroad naturally is conditional upon the Government of Canada allowing travel outside Canada. Once you receive an offer to, for example, the Japan program, you'll have 1 week to decide if you would like to accept the offer. And you do this by paying your non-refundable $1,000 deposit, and you make the payment online as well. If you decline the offer, though, note that you will not get your application fee back. Okay, and remaining fees for Japan is due on March the 26th, March 26th, 2025. So let's talk a little bit about cost, because that's extremely important and usually plays a role on a student's decision to apply. The information regarding the relevant costs is also published on our website. Once you're on the Japan program website. So if you're actually on your mobile, it looks a little bit different. And my tip to students, especially if you're new to the Summer Abroad program, is to log in or explore our Summer Abroad web pages on a laptop first. Because when you're on your mobile, I noticed it is definitely possible for you to view the content, but your navigators look a little bit different. And I noticed that sometimes students will miss pertinent information because of the way it's laid out on your mobile, on your tablet, on your iPhone. So go onto your the web page using a laptop or a computer, and you'll notice it'll look something like this. On the left-hand side, it will have different sections that you can click and explore. So if you click on cost, it'll look something like this, and there will be blue sections that will be for domestic students and for international students. So if you pay domestic tuition fees to the University of Toronto, click on the domestic bar. And if you pay international tuition fees, now you click on the international students bar. So based on which fees you pay, you'll either be paying the domestic students program fees, which is on the left-hand side, or the international students fee for Summer Abroad, which is here outlined on the right-hand side. I just want to explain what the different fees mean. So we have broken the Summer Abroad fees for you into 2 categories. The category on the top, which is outlined in red, it's fees paid to the Summer Abroad office or the University of Toronto. These consist of application fee, course fee, incidental fee, field trip fees, and accommodation. So these relate to the mandatory components of your summer abroad program. Okay. The fees on the bottom, which we call additional costs, are estimates. We want to make sure that you are aware of these additional fees, and also to note that they actually range because they're impacted by your own preferences and your own decisions on certain items. For example, airfare is an estimate. It's based on your round trip from Toronto to Japan. So depending on where you plan to travel from, it impacts the fees. The meals also tend to be an estimate, really depending on if you plan to eat high price sushi every single time, then budget accordingly. But if you're able to make sure that you are careful about where you eat and you are planning accordingly, that would be the estimate that we've provided you. At the end, at the bottom, you'll see approximate total program cost, and that's the amount that we want to make sure you're aware as you consider different program opportunities. So we know that sometimes finances may be a concern for students, and a large percentage of EFT students are on financial aid. So I always make it a point to make sure that students are aware that there is a significant amount of resources, financial resources available to EFT students. And if you have any questions or concerns, do reach out to us. We never want finances to be a barrier to you when you're thinking about summer abroad. We do have summer abroad awards that are available to all our participants. And our summer abroad awards are broken down into two groups. One is a needs-based award for students who have demonstrated financial need, and that would be something you can apply already on the Summer Abroad website, and it's integrated as part of your Summer Abroad application. It is for domestic students, so if you meet the criteria that's indicated on the screen, to complete the Summer Abroad award application, and we'll definitely make sure that you are considered for the diverse awards. The awards value differs, so they could range usually from 2,500 to 7,000 based one on the program that you're applying to, and second is based on your own personal need. What I would share is last year in 2024, we granted through Woodsworth College alone $400,000 to summer abroad participants. So we try to make sure that funding is made available to those who need it. The other category of awards is merit-based awards. These tend to be smaller, so they tend to be a little bit more competitive. But if you are looking into merit-based awards, the award criteria is on our website as well. You do have to complete a separate supplemental application for merit-based awards. The link is on the Summer Abroad portal. So when you log into the Summer Abroad award application section, you will see a link to the merit-based awards. So that's something for you to consider as well. I also did a separate session on financing summer abroad opportunities. So if you would like to receive more information or you want to learn a little bit more, I urge you to view my separate video. So start budgeting now. It's never too early. Final payment for Japan program is due on March 26th. So make sure you have a good financial plan in mind. Explore all different opportunities. Talk to your registrar's office. Talk to your department, whichever it may be, to see if there are additional financial aid available or different types of awards that you could apply for and be eligible for. If you're an OSAP student, and OSAP is for domestic students who are based in Toronto, then OSAP fund may be open to you. You definitely would be able to apply for OSAP. Information is on our website for that as well. Do know that OSAP funds for domestic students are not usually released until closer to the start of the program, and you can't defer your fees on that basis. So just plan accordingly and be aware of it. CIE, which is a different unit from our Summer Abroad Woodsworth office. CIE also is able to offer you funding for summer abroad, and they've been very generous in the past. So make sure you're looking into the IE Award Plus awards and also applying for that. If you're specifically an international student who has financial need, I would definitely recommend you exploring the IE Award Plus that's offered through CIE, because those are open to international students with financial need as well. So next slide is on visas and insurance, because that's a practical element that you need to be aware of. Students are responsible for arranging your own visa, and if required, we would be providing you supporting documents as well. This is all done after you're admitted. For Japan, the Canadian citizens usually would require just your travel document, which is your passport, valid for the duration of the stay. Okay. International students, that's students who don't have the Canadian citizenship, definitely check with your the Japanese embassy and consulate for requirements, and we normally will provide links to that effect once you are admitted to the particular program. Wherever possible, especially if you do need to apply for visa, apply from Toronto. We work very closely with the local embassies, so we'll be able to guide you through the various documents if you're applying from Toronto. If you plan to go back home to a different country and you have to apply from your home country, of course, we'll provide you with the documents, but we may not be able to provide you with the same level of support for the visas in the same way. Okay. The last piece, but extremely relevant, equity, diversity, inclusion, and accessibility resources. Summer Abroad has been putting together a large number of EDIA-related resources and making sure the information is relevant and easily accessible to students who are thinking about exploring summer abroad opportunities. So I urge you to review it. If you have any inquiries, if there are specific needs you would like to discuss, do book an advising appointment with Venture, who is our EDIA staff. She's focused on diversity and inclusion. There's a QR code on the screen. Scan it, book an appointment with her, and she'll be happy to guide you through the various resources. If any of the resources that are published on the website is confusing or you're not sure about it, do reach out to us and let us know, and we'll be happy to help. There are two specific EDI resources or groups of EDI resources I would like you to be aware of. One is for the different student communities, and you'll see that on the top of our page. When you click on EDI and accessibility, you'll be able to see a link or a tab that says EDI resources for diverse student communities. So read through it. We are also building a site-specific EDI resources as well. And you'll see one on our website for the different countries. To refer to those, tons of information and resources, and I think students will find it very, very helpful. For those who require academic accommodations, and these may be extra time to complete assignments, and are registered with the UFT Accessibility Services, do note that we would be asking you to upload letters of accommodation within 7 days of being admitted to summer abroad. So if you're thinking about summer abroad and you're registered accessibility office, start to have a conversation with your accessibility advisor. Let them know you're thinking about applying for summer abroad so that you can start updating your letter of accommodation for these activities. If you have any questions, again, do not hesitate to reach out to us. We want to make sure we are on this journey with you, and we are working with you as you think through your different options. Okay. So, EDIA Award. This is definitely something I would like to highlight. Very proud that we offer this every year. This would be our third year offering the Summer Abroad Inclusion, Diversity, and Excellence Award. We provide 4 students with this particular award, and it's to recognize our excellent, awesome students. We know that we have students who are contributing to the advancement of EDI. And we want to make sure we are able to provide them with additional funds. So if you've actually maybe started an initiative to advance EDI in, activities or projects, do submit an application for this. We would love to hear more about your initiatives and your contributions. Preference is given to Blacks and Indigenous students. Okay, and these are valued at $5,000 each. So this takes me to the end of my presentation today. A reminder to subscribe to the summary, which is our new e-newsletter. If you haven't done so, drop in, have a chat with our awesome Summer Abroad ambassadors, learn a little bit more from them about their experiences. And an awesome way to connect with us is to engage with us on our Instagram account. So if you haven't done so, follow us on our UFT Abroad account. Our website has tons of information. Don't forget to review all the links. We have so many student stories posted on it as well. So explore those, read and learn through those. And if you're ever on the Summer Abroad uh, kind of building or area, we are based at Woodswood College on the third floor. We would love to meet students. So if you're ever around our office, drop by our office hours, come chat with us, book an appointment, and we'll be happy to guide you through the process.